from group
13.
13. Now we're going to make a podcast video about Renaissance art. But before that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Eka Purwati with my student ID number 123241064 as the cameraman and the editor.
And I'm Komang Yuli Slawati with the student ID number 123241072 as the host.
I'm Nasita Zara Ramadita with student ID number 12324107 and 0 as the speaker one.
And my name is Dian Teguh Fibrianti with my student ID number 123241065 as the co-speaker 2.
Check this out.
Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast. I'm Komang Yuli as the host and our speakers here, Nasita Zara and Dian Teguh. Today we're driving into the most progressive and transformative era of art history, the Renaissance. And there will be five key aspects that we will have to discuss today, such as paintings, sculptures, architectures, literature, and music. And without further ado, and let's get started.
Hi! I'm Nasita Zahra
And I am Dian Teguh Fibrianti.
and I will be providing post historical events, facts, and also context.
And I will be contributing as in this podcast by offering alternative viewpoints and different perspectives so we can understand more about Renaissance arts.
Okay, let's begin with Renaissance art and paintings. So, Ara and Dian, what are the key of characteristics of the paintings in Renaissance art?
So, Renaissance paintings are known for realism, perspective, and also human emotion. Some artists use techniques like chiaroscuro, which is light and shadow, and also linear perspective to create more depth. And they also focused on humanism, which portrays more of like religious and mythological themes with lifelike details.
Fascinating. And Ara, could you please name a famous Renaissance painting and its creator?
Absolutely. One of the most iconic example is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. It captures the moment when Jesus reveals his betrayal and using perspective to draw the viewers into the scene.
You know what? That is a really nice interpretation. But some journals also says that it also reflects Da Vinci's skepticism by placing Judas among the apostles instead of isolating him. So Da Vinci may suggest like a more humanist view of betrayal as more like as a flaw rather than a moral absolute.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you both have the example of Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. And what about the deeper meaning about its masterpiece, about the masterpiece?
So it's deeper meaning. So beyond its religious significance, the Last Supper also symbolizes harmony and tension. Da Vinci's composition guide the eye to the Christ. So it's emphasizing his centrality. Meanwhile, the apostle reaction brings more human emotion.
Alright, from the explanations that we have heard before, we can conclude that the Renaissance paintings were focused on humanism, the religious aspects, and also the human emotion. So that's why they were very famous for their interpretation for human emotion and the realism. So, for the next, we are moving on to the sculptures in Renaissance art. So, how the sculptures from Renaissance period differ from the medieval predecessors?
Okay, so Renaissance sculptures revive on classical ideas, focusing more on anatomy, proportion, and dynamic poses. Unlike the medieval arts, which was often more symbolic, Renaissance sculptures celebrated individuality and humanism.
I see. Alright, interesting. Can you give us the examples of it?
Yes, Michelangelo David's is the perfect example. So this marble statue really depicts the biblical hero with perfect proportions and also intense focus. So it really captures the moment for the man.
And what does David represent in Renaissance context?
It embodies human potential and civic pride. Horus saw David as a symbol of their republic strength against larger powers. So it's reflecting Renaissance values of courage and individualism.
Yes, the statue of David came to symbolize the independence and the civil liberty of Florence. And if you really take a look at the statue, you can see that David's eyes glare into the direction of Rome to give like some kind of warning to anyone who challenged the city.
Okay, so I have heard that some historians were um, have their opinion about that sculpture is used for political propaganda. So I see the vision about the realism style of sculptures back then, and we are moving into architecture. Alright, guys, what defines Renaissance buildings back then?
So Renaissance architecture embraced symmetry, geometry, and also classical elements like columns and domes, and architects like Brunelleschi revived Roman architecture by blending beauty with mathematical precision.
Oh wow, okay, so name a landmark and its significance in the context of Renaissance building.
The Florence Cathedral Dome by Filippo Brunelleschi. It was an engineering marvel. It was the largest dome since the antiquity, showcasing innovation and also ambition.
But still, the strong focus on classical revival sometimes came at the cost of local styles. Gothic architecture, which flourished earlier, was often dismissed despite its own innovations and deep spiritual symbolism.
And how did this reflect Renaissance ideals?
So the dome symbolized humans' ingenuity aligning with the divine inspiration. So it merged art, science, and also faith, all of these together as the core theme of Renaissance.
I think Okay, I see what we got here. So the buildings in Renaissance period has maintained a connected dots between human kins and mathematical precision. And we are moving to literature. How did Renaissance writer break down from tradition?
They wrote in vernacular languages like Italian instead of Latin. So they explored humanist themes. Their works often focus on individual experience, politics, and also morality.
So the works often related with individual experience, politics, and morality. And who do you think the key figure of the Renaissance literature back then?
Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, it really influenced the era. It is an epic journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise, blending theology with poetic brilliance.
And what's the lasting impact of the work?
So it shaped Italian literature and also language, proving that vernacular could carry profound ideas, a Renaissance hallmark.
Okay, I'm sure everybody knows about the famous William Shakespeare with his works that has been fascinating through the years. And for the next, finally, for music and Renaissance period, I've been curious about music in that period and how did Renaissance music evolve?
Polymony flourished. So composers like Palestrina created harmonious sacred music, while secular madrigals expressed emotions.
I see. Could you please name a composer and a work in polyphony musics?
So I think my favorite one is Josquin Desprez Ave Maria. It's a polyphonic masterpiece blending reference of technical skill.
So his music incorporates a greater variety of expressions than any previously. There are even flashes of quirky humors and symbolism where the musical match some of the text. But not surprisingly, Jocelyn has been called as the first composer whose music appeals to our modern sense of art. However, his music was created or experienced by the elites. Much of the working class participated and through oral traditions and folk songs that rarely entered the historical records.
And what did music means in Renaissance society?
So it brings sacred and secular life, enhancing worship and holy entertainment. It reflecting the era's balance of spirituality and humanism.
This actually is interesting since the Renaissance music were developed before the famous composer, the famous musicians such as Bach, Vivaldi, Mozart, and the others are exist in the music industry. And then it must have some differences and characteristics about the Renaissance music back then that we have already heard before. And then now we're exploring how Renaissance arts taking part of in changing society instead of just decorate churches and palaces. And guys, the Renaissance art influenced everyday life in that period?
Ah, great question. So art became a tool for education and propaganda. For example, the frescoes in churches taught biblical stories to illiterate the crowds, while portraits of rulers like Titian's Charles V reinforced political powers.
Oh, that's fascinating. And what about the economical aspect? How did art boost the economic aspect back then?
Oh, massively. Cities like Florence thrived on art commissions. Patrons, bankers, popes, and even merchants paid artists to create works, to fueling workshops and trade in materials such as pigments and marble. So it was a cultural and financial revolution.
And let's not forget about humanism. Art shifted from the divine judgment to human potential. Studies like Michelangelo's David celebrated individual beauty and intellect, inspiring scientific and philosophical progress.
So, art was like a mirror and a catalyst for societal change.
Exactly. It reflected new ideals and accelerated them. Like, for example, Josquin's harmonies and Petrarch's sonnets spread ideas faster than ever. But still, we should consider that many of these artworks were produced under patronage system, which limits the work of the artist. While artists expressed innovations, their works were often shaped by desires of power, like in religious leaders, nobles, or merchant elites.
Okay, now we all already reached the conclusion about this podcast. So, that Renaissance art were developed under a theme of humanism and religion, and somehow, if it took closer, we can find that the art creatures become more like realistic and mathematical than the periods before. Okay, maybe that's all about our discussion today about Renaissance art. And as we can put the point from our discussion before, that creativity can change the world. And until next time, and keep exploring. Bye bye.